Hey, welcome to Weekly Debrief. This week I'm at a conference for LGBT journalists in Orlando. You can follow along at the hashtag LGBTmedia17. But even though I'm traveling, there's still lots of news to talk about this week. We just had hearings for Neil Gorsuch, that's Donald's nominee for the U.S. Supreme Court. The White House is sending a hate group that is called for the criminalization of homosexuality to a UN conference on human rights. And the Trump administration is ending a program that sought to make sure elderly LGBTs had adequate food and medical care. But there's also some good news this week. A landmark court ruling that could mean thousands of queer couples could be entitled to retroactive relationship recognition going back decades. Let's start with Donald's Supreme Court nominee, Neil Gorsuch. At a hearing this week, he was asked about his attitudes regarding LGBT people, and his response? What about him? Although Gorsuch hasn't said much about LGBT people, his past writing indicates hostility to the principles that made rulings on equal rights possible. That means that if he's confirmed, we could see a rollback or even a wiping out of some of the advances of the last few years. He's scheduled for a vote on April 3rd. Also last week, the Department of Health and Human Services ended a survey that was designed to make sure LGBT seniors have access to food and medical care. Minorities often have difficulty accessing those services, and by ending this program, the administration is essentially telling elderly LGBTs, you guys are on your own. Also this week, the administration approved a recognized hate group to attend a series of meetings at the United Nations. The group's called the Center for Family and Human Rights, and leadership has repeatedly called for the criminalization of homosexuality. They'll now be working closely with the State Department on, alarmingly, human rights. But it's not all bad news this week. In Oklahoma, the Osage Nation tribe has approved marriage recognition for same-sex couples, and in Boston, the St. Patrick's Day parade reversed course and allowed LGBT veterans to march after initially telling them that their rainbow banner was inappropriate. And this is huge. A judge in South Carolina just ruled that a lesbian couple that was together for about 4 decades can be considered common law married for most of that time. This means couples in numerous other states could be entitled to benefits like taxes and health insurance and alimony. There's never been a ruling like this before, but it may open the door for couples to try to recoup some of the losses that they've been suffering for decades. After enduring years of legal discrimination, many elderly LGBTs are in dire financial circumstances, and the Trump administration's decision to cut off services for those people could end what little safety net they had. This week's action item is to check Volunteer Match, or SAGE, or the National Resource Center for LGBT Aging, and find volunteer opportunities with LGBT seniors. These are folks who've been fighting for decades, not just for equality, but for the simple freedom to live their lives, and it is unbelievable that this administration is continuing to impose hardships on them. That's it for this week. Remember to follow the LGBTmedia17 hashtag. Let me know your thoughts at Matt Baum or in the YouTube comments. Check out these videos, subscribe to stay up to date, and I'll debrief you next week.